Hello, today we're going to be learning about Kohlberg's theory of moral development. Lawrence Kohlberg was a professor for many years at Harvard University. He is well known for his theory on moral development. He asserted that people progress through their moral development through three levels, with each level consisting of two different stages. According to Kohlberg, the basis of a moral development occurs through interaction with one's environment. There are some key features to Kohlberg's theory. Maturity does not influence movement through the stages. Moral progression cannot be taught, and development occurs from our own thinking about moral problems. The first level of moral development is the preconventional level. Stage 1 of the preconventional level is obedience and punishment. Those in this stage make their moral decisions on the basis of wanting to avoid punishment. They obey the rules simply because they do not want to get into trouble. Whenever faced with a moral dilemma, those in stage 1 ask themselves, will I get punished for this? An example is a child who has been punished for climbing on the table before by being given a timeout. Afterwards, the child wants to reach a toy on the table, but asks for assistance instead of climbing on the table again. Why? They want to avoid the punishment of timeout. Stage 2 of the preconventional level is rewards and market exchange. Those in this stage make their moral decisions on the basis of personal gain. They make moral decisions by weighing what they and other children will get out of the decision. Whenever faced with a moral dilemma, those in stage 2 ask themselves, what do I get out of this? An example is a child who does not want to clean their room but decides to do it anyway when their mother asks them to. Prior to cleaning their room, their mother comments that they will get to choose their favorite cereal for breakfast. The child chooses to clean their room because they gain the choice of their favorite cereal. The second level of moral development is the conventional level. Stage 3 is ethics of peer opinion. Those in stage 3 move past their own perception to considering the perceptions of others. They make their moral decisions on the basis of popular opinion. Pleasing others is what is good to them. Whenever faced with a moral dilemma, those in stage 3 ask themselves, what will others think of this? An example is a student who wants to be in the front of the line of the school lunch, but refrains from cutting when others get in front of him. When they had cut in line before, they noticed a lot of disapproval from their teachers and peers. They chose not to cut in line because they did not want to displease the others. Stage 4 of the conventional level is ethics of law and order. Those in this stage begin to consider larger society rather than just themselves and the people around them. They make their moral decisions on the basis of what is lawful. Whenever faced with a moral dilemma, those in stage 4 ask themselves, what will the law say about this? An example is a student who is really craving a chocolate chip cookie for a snack, but they do not have any money for the chocolate chip cookie. They refrain from stealing the cookie because they have learned that stealing is illegal. The third level of moral development is the post-conventional level. An interesting fact, only 10 to 15% of adults achieve this level. Stage 5 is the social contract. Those in stage 5 of the post-conventional level begin to develop their own personal values rather than being dependent on society to inform them of what is right and wrong. They make their moral decisions on the basis of the greater good. Whenever faced with a moral dilemma, those in stage 5 ask themselves, what do our values say about this? An example is a student who is proposed with the hypothetical situation that one of their best friends is hurt versus 50 strangers. The student is then told that they can only help their best friend or the 50 strangers, not both. The student chooses to help the 50 strangers instead of their best friend because they realize that helping 50 people versus one does the greater amount of good. Stage 6 of the post-conventional level is universal principles. Those in stage 6 of the post-conventional level begin to deepen their personal values and hold them in higher regard than the conventional values of society. They make their moral decisions on the basis of abstract principles instead of concrete rules. Whenever faced with a moral dilemma, those in stage 6 ask themselves, what does my conscience say? An example is a person who comes across an illegal immigrant in dire need of shelter and food. The person knows that it is illegal to house the immigrant, but they also know that the person will return to the third world conditions if they choose to turn them in. The person chooses to house the illegal immigrant and provide them food because they have the internal value of helping those in need. Now that we understand the theory of moral development, the question is how to incorporate it into our classrooms. By positioning the student into their respective level and stage, we can adjust our curriculum to encourage growth and learning about morals and moral dilemmas. This has been my presentation on Kohlberg's theory of moral development. Thank you.
created using Powtoon.